Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at eTrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at the Hollywood Racks Destination E2 bike platform rack here on our 2015 Toyota 4Runner. So the Destination E is an impressive bike rack in the way it has a bunch of different features that go kind of the next level in terms of weight capacity as well as tilt away. So we're going to talk about those features, but we are going to focus on our 4Runner here today. That way you can see how it works with the vehicle, our different measurements, and then you can get the best fit for you, your different types of bikes, and your car. So my personal thoughts about the Hollywood Racks Destination E is it really has a good weight capacity of 70 pounds per bike. Definitely an upgrade compared to something like the Crew at Envy, which limits you to 60 pounds per bike. I also like how you have a very large ramp, larger than something like the Yakima on-ramp, although the on-ramp has the ramp included with the bike rack. This one you have to store it inside of your vehicle somewhere, so you do have the possibility of leaving it behind. So don't forget that ramp because it's very helpful. With how the 4Runner is a taller vehicle, I recommend pretty much any bike rack that has a ramp because it's hard to lift those heavy e-bikes onto those bike racks. So because of that, I think the Hollywood Racks Destination E is a very good pairing. The first feature we're going to take a look at is the tilt away feature. So you're going to have this knob towards the center of your bike rack that you are going to have to loosen and then push out. So just loosen this knob just enough where you have enough clearance to push that out of the way. So the good news is that it's going to hold its position until you're ready for it to drop. So you can use your 4Runner as a brace as you just let that drop down to a full tilt. Right there. With this tilted all the way down, you now have access to your hatch. So you can see here you have plenty of clearance between the door, the bike rack, giving you access in there to grab whatever you need, whether it's your helmets, your bags, your waters. You can do so real quick without having to take your bikes off. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use that mast to lift up on the rack, not even holding on to our bike. Once it's set up there, go ahead and pop that lever back in, or that knob back in, and tighten it down. So you are able to do all that because of the way your e-bikes are going to be mounted. So you're going to have 4 different touch points. So 1, 2, and 3 are going to be your wheel straps. So 2 for your front wheel, 1 for your rear wheel. And then you're going to have this frame mount. So the frame mount can move back and forth. You have 2 different arms there. You can only, if you want to, you can just use one if you're only carrying one bike, but that's going to keep everything in place. You're also going to have this ramp included with your rack. Now this is not attached to your bike rack though, so just make sure to take that out of your trunk and make sure you have it when you're ready to go. And this is going to secure to your rear wheel side. So in our case here, where we're backed up against the wall, we don't have access to it, but I'll show you how this is going to work. You're just going to rotate this knob just enough where you can loosen that ramp. You don't need to take it off completely. And then you just clip that onto your bike rack. It automatically extends, and then you can secure that knob on the bottom if you want to. When you want to start taking your bike off, you start by taking off the wheel straps. So you're going to have 3 of them, and they make it where it's easy for you to access it from behind the bike. You just press that lever, lift up on the strap, and then this pivot. So go ahead and bring that all the way down so it doesn't get caught up in your spokes when you ramp the bike off. For your frame mounts, you will have the option to lock this down. So with this in the unlock position, you are able to rotate this knob, and that's going to help loosen that clamp that's clamped around your frame. With that completely loose, I'm just going to go swing that away from our bike, and from here it's going to be easy just to ramp the bike down. Now the bike is light enough that I can just lift this off, and I'm ready to go for a bike ride. With the bike out of the way, we can take a closer look at the bike rack itself. So notice how these pivot back and forth for your different wheelbases. The maximum wheelbase you can carry with this rack is going to be up to 50-inch long bikes. So you do have a weight capacity of 70 pounds per bike, which is a lot. It's a bit more than your average electric bike rack, which usually limits you to 60 pounds. Now the reason you have that great weight capacity is just because of the extra ways it holds down your bike. So here in the front, you're gonna have that front wheel chock that pivots for those different wheelbases. Then you have that strap that goes around that wheel as well. And note that you do have a maximum tire width of 4.5-inch wide tires with this bike rack. So this is gonna add some length to the back of your 4Runner. And we'll take some measurements to see exactly how much. Measuring from our bumper to the end of the rack, this sits at 34 inches. So that's a measurement to keep in mind when you're backing into your garage or trying to park into a tight spot. Don't forget that you have a bike rack as well as 2 bikes behind you. Next is ground clearance. So ground clearance is going to be measured first at the end of the rack to the ground, 28.5 inches. Now you do have these wings towards the side, and that is going to be 23.5 inches off the ground. And when you have those extra heavy electric bikes with your 4Runner, you have all that ground clearance that you have to consider over there by the hitch. So you do notice that there is a shank rise comparing from the shank that is 18 inches off the ground. That's why this is going to be a great pairing with the 4Runner, because that ramp is just going to help you so you don't have to lift your bikes up that high. You also have the option to fold this bike up. So you are going to have to lower the mast though. So there's going to be these straps which are holding your levers into place. So just make sure to release those straps, and then from there you can release those levers, allowing you to just fold this entire mast down. With it folded down like that, go ahead and pop those levers back up to secure it. That way it doesn't flop off as you fold it up. Your next step is to take off this clip as well as this bolt. So you do have a wire holding on to that bolt or that clip and pin, but it is kind of thin, so I just say go ahead and hold that up as you lift up on the rack, just because you're gonna pop that right back in. Don't forget to secure that pin with that clip, and you are now in the portable or compact position. Taking some measurements with it over here, the closest point is going to be pretty far away from the 4Runner. Even with our frame mount far away, it's going to be 5.5 inches of clearance between the vehicle and the rack. Length added is now going to be from the bumper to the end of the bike rack, 17 inches, and that's going to be the same for the end of the wing. So pretty good difference compared to when this was folded down. You'll want it in this position when you're just planning on driving around town and you don't want to take up more space than you already are with your big 4Runner. The way this fits into your hitch is this has an included hitch alignment ledge. So you pop that into your hitch receiver, it stops you, and then you have to line up the stopper inside of the shank. So once that's lined up, you can put the hitch pin through. You have a lock on the end. That lock is going to be key to the locks you can find on your frame mounts. You then use this to tighten down on the rack itself. So that pulls the hitch pin, creating an anti-rattle effect. So how does that work? Well, with this fully tightened down, I'm going to shake our bike rack back and forth just to simulate that road movement and vibration. At the hitch there, really good fit. We do have a little bit of movement, but not much at all. You're just going to want to double check that your pin is in place if you do see a lot of movement. And that was a quick look at the Hollywood Racks Destination E2 bike platform rack on our 2015 Toyota 4Runner.